All right, Bob Coppage, Simplex-IT here with a breaking story, whatever. Anyway, so 3CX, which is one of the premier VoIP service providers or the like, has had a security issue. And I was going to go really, really deep down into this whole thing that's going on. I don't know. I'm not a VoIP guy. But I know somebody who is, and that is George Bardisi, who is the CEO, head geek, and Chick-fil-A point accumulator extraordinaire with BVoip, who is Simplex-IT's VoIP partner. And so George heard that I was going to talk about this, and well, it was an intervention. So George, thank you for joining us here. How you doing?
Doing well, Bob. Thanks for having me on.
Cool. So what I wanted to do was, there's a lot of resources, and we'll get into this, about the real details and the highfalutin tech and security stuff. Very, very briefly, what's going on here?
Yeah, Bob, the really smart people at a lot of security companies, I can name a few off the top of my head, SentinelOne and CrowdStrike and Huntress and Total and Sophos, and there's keeps on going, right? But I think SentinelOne was one of the early picker-uppers of this, where the most recent version of the platform from 3CX, update 7 of version 18, which is not really old. We're talking maybe like less than a few weeks old, was found to have a compromise in it. And basically the MDR, XDR, and antivirus people of the world just started saying, hey, we're going to start flagging this as a problem. We're just going to quarantine it, like most antivirus programs that will do. So in a nutshell, the actual back end of the platform, the management, and the actual phone system, elements underneath the hood are all okay. Specifically, the installed version of the client apps for Windows and possibly Mac that are the culprit. So that is, in a nutshell, the hidden mystery of this whole story. And basically, we just want to take a practical approach to saying, here's what you need to do in order to cross it off and make sure you're not in a problem zone.
Cool. So if any one of those highfalutin security people are watching this, they're going, no, it's much more complicated than that. Yes, it is. Take a deep breath, move on. This is for the rest of us.
Yes, simple and easy.
You got it. So bottom line, it's the desktop app, the app that's actually installed on Windows or Mac computers.
Yes,
right?
That's correct.
And so if you want to know, if you take a look at the app that you've got installed, these are the four, two for Mac, 2 for Windows, that are believed to have the issue, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And if you want to know what version you're running and all that, you can kind of, like in Windows, you can go to Control Panel, take a look at the list of applications. It'll give you the numbers. But you can also just look at your freaking screen.
That's right.
Okay. So freaking screen is technical, but it's accurate. This is the application that is, it's actually, honestly, it's the older application, right?
That's right.
But this is the application is good. So if you do have a 3CX phone app installed on your computer and it looks like this, first of all, if you see the blurry stuff on your screen, you should see an optometrist or something. But otherwise, you're in good shape, right?
Mm-hmm. This is the one that's unaffected. Even in older versions of the platform from the past years, this is the same look and feel. So this one is unaffected.
Cool. So you're good if it looks like this. However, if it looks like this, not so good, or potentially probably not so good, I should say.
This is the one where if you've installed the more recent version of the app, this is the one that you want to say, yep, let's just uninstall this and check the box.
Cool. And then and it really is that simple, relatively speaking. Now, depending upon whether you're talking about someone who is, I'm just responsible for my desktop, or an organization that is responsible for an entire, operation for everybody, or a managed service provider, it gets a little more complicated and the like. And I know you've provided a script for managed service providers such as ourselves to use that will actually go and uninstall the client.
That's right. So if you're using any sort of, Microsoft Intune or any other RMM style platform, and you have a little bit of scale out there and a lot of, remote locations or home workers, there is a simple, easy, a couple of lines of code you can put in there to just remove the app, which is the automated way of just going into the control panel, add remove programs, uninstall. I mean, That's as simple as it gets.
Cool. So as simple as it gets is if you got that bad app, uninstall it.
That's right.
Pure and simple. Otherwise, if you're using the web browser or you're using phone apps, those aren't impacted. And similarly, if you had the app uninstalled, you can start using the web browser.
That's right. So if you have a physical device like a phone on your desk, no worries, right? The iOS and Android mobile apps from the app stores, no issue. There's a browser-based version of the app that opens up in Chrome or whatever browser you're using. I'm a Chrome fan. Works perfectly fine, and that's the one I used it on a day-to-day. To be honest, I never actually had the installed desktop app installed myself. So all of those work exactly the way that you want. You're not going to be handcuffed to like say, "Hey, my phone system doesn't work because I can't use it." Those are the options.
Right. Lots of other tools because everything else isn't impacted by this whole situation.
Correct.
If you are one of those security folks, or if you're bored, can't sleep, whatever, these are some more, because you mentioned the fact CrowdStrike, Sentinel-1, all that. This is where you can go much deeper into it. And again, this is less than 24 hours old. So even some of these links are being either updated or added on or the like.
Yeah, there's definitely consistent updating happening. I would think Total has probably gone the deepest into it in terms of, where this goes from a bad guy perspective. But, the manufacturer 3CX has posted this finally with some guidance on their side and what they're doing actively right now, which is probably posting updated version of the app installers if you really want to still use it, that are safe, and then future apps that will be coming behind it as well. But again, we'll let them do their thing and matriculate through, whatever they want to. But in the meantime, we can just do a simple, solve it, uninstall. And then that way down the line, if you want to go back to it, all good.
Cool. So really it gets down to if you're using anything other than the desktop app, you're cool. And if you're using the desktop app, again, all you got to do is look at the screenshot. And if it looks like that, you're okay. And if it looks like that, uninstall it. It's that simple. George, if anybody has any questions or the like, and they actually want intelligent responses, they're going to contact you, not me. What's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, so you can definitely contact us at bvoip.com/contact, or I'm in all the various social networks. Feel free to drop me a line. I'm happy to
Seriously, he is.
give you a quick reply. But yeah, it's listen, guys. I mean, it seems like it's maybe a little bit too complicated out there for the non-technical people. But the good news is the technical community, is kind of a village, right? It says sometimes you need a village to bring people up. It worked this time, right? We're all on the same, playground, and we're all kind of learning what's good and what's not in the moment. So thanks to everyone out there that was on top of this. And, it goes to show you that, good security approaches is multi-layered, and communication is a really, really, really good and big part of that strategy.
Absolutely. So, and I guess that's about as good a parting words we're going to get, George. As always, thanks. And I really want some Chick-fil-A points from you.
No problem, Bob. We'll get you some. I promise.
Yeah, right. Like 3. All right.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks.